It's just a tradition among mostly African Americans, and they celebrate. And then I went to some Irish wakes, and they get drunk off. I mean, this is the right old Eric Coley family member. Is going. Is that the same person or two different?
Two different, two different, two different.
Okay, it's your time. And I don't know if you want to preach like Manuel,
I don't.
but come in your own way. Sir.
I've been advised by my cousin Matthew not to do that. So, first of all, grace and peace through the knowledge of God our Father and through Jesus Christ. And through him we have been able to enter into his marvelous light. This is not easy for me, but I'm going to try to get through it, so I appreciate your prayers. I was asked by Matthew to make a few remarks regarding my beloved brother Junior. And I just want to take a few moments to talk about someone that was an important part of my life and my growing up. Standing here today is a very difficult thing for me because this really hurts a lot. When my brother Leo called me on that Friday evening, informed me of his passing, I don't mind telling you that pain I felt, the tears that followed were immense. Pain that I had felt so many times before. My response to my brother was, no, I couldn't believe it. Then, of course, my thoughts shifted to my Aunt Leola, my second mother. I was so concerned that the news of Junior's death would just break my heart. Losing another son who she loved. It was so sudden and so unexpected, so shocking to the senses. Even now, it's hard to believe that he is no longer here. Very recently, Tony and I were visiting with Aunt Leola, and of course Matthew was there with his mother, and Matthew shared with us that Junior had just left to go back to Florida after spending almost a month in Rochester. And I remember being so disappointed and not knowing that he was down and that he had left without me having a chance to see him again. Since my family moved to Memphis, we don't see our family as much as we would like or as often as we used to when we lived in Rochester. The last time that I saw Junior was when Tony and I stopped by to visit. Then that most of us will never see him or talk to him again, or at least not on this side of the train. You see, when we lose someone that we love, it isn't just that loss that we feel. It is the collective as well as singular loss that is combined that you feel all at once. His past, he brought back the pain of losing others that was so very dear to me. My mom, his brother Raymond, he and I were like twin brothers. My older brother Gino, and my younger brother Douglas. All of those people I love so dearly. And they're gone. People that we can't see or hug, talk to anymore, or just having a sense of knowing that they're okay. Junior just wasn't a cousin, he was like a brother to me, as was Raymond. His memory will be with me as long as I live. Hope to see him again one day. My earliest memories as a child was living in Durham, North Carolina. Ruth, Junior, Raymond, and later Fred on Smith Street. And Ruth would watch over us while our parents were at work. Or the summers when we as kids would go visit Grandpa and Grandma on the Coley Farm in Georgia. Those were special and wonderful times. Then Uncle John and the family left Durham and came to Rochester and eventually moved to Tulsa. And after a couple of years, we followed. We lived on Morgan Street, and then later we moved into, St. Clair, the same house that they had lived in. And later I would end up living most of my junior and senior high school years with Uncle John and Aunt Leola on Hawley Street and Seward Street. That meant that Junior, Raymond, Freddie, Matthew, and I spent a lot of our lives growing up together, and we have always been very close. Junior, as we call him, I know a lot of you, he's John Jr., but to us, he's just Junior. He was, as people said, the quiet one, much like his father. He was aptly named John Jr. He wasn't known for saying too much, as someone had already pointed out. But when he did say something, it was what he meant. It's just that simple. He and Freddie both shared the truth. He just took care of his business and worked hard to take care of his family. He was known to have more than one job at once. I remember that Junior was never afraid of work, even in his youth. As teenagers, we would get up before daylight during the summer to walk from St. Clair to Hawley Street all the way to State Street to go to work as day laborers on the market farms surrounding Rochester. And none of us could outwork him in either cherry, apple, strawberry, picking. Of course, when you think of Junior, you also think of his love for bowling. He traveled all over the place for bowling tournaments. But before bowling, there was basketball, baseball, and football. John was an outstanding athlete. I remember as an underclassman reading about him in the newspaper with pride and hearing others talking about how good he was at basketball. The first game that I actually saw him play, ironically, was when Edison Tech came to play Madison. I attended Madison. Well, of course, I cheered for Junior. That was my family. To the dismay and anger of my fellow schoolmates. I just didn't care. But it was my cousin, and I had to cheer for him. He was family, and he was very, very good, especially shooting the ball. Many of you might not remember that he was an all-scholastic basketball star at Edison Tech, and he also played football on a very good football team. I never understood why he went to Edison and not Madison, which was right up the street from St. Clair, but it all worked out for him. Many years later, he would send me our Eric and let me know when his game would be televised. He was so proud of Eric as well. I also remember on a couple occasions in our younger days that Raymond and I traveled with Junior and we came to Syracuse a couple of times. Unlike Junior, I didn't know anything about the city, and quite frankly, I never liked Syracuse. I still don't. And who knew that many years later, my family and I would end up living in a suburb of Syracuse. And of course, I don't attribute any of that to Junior taking me there many years earlier. In closing, I will miss him so much, like all of us will, but I thank God that in the past few months, John Jr. sought the Lord. And talking to Matthew about Junior, I learned that after discovering that he had serious health problems, he made sincere efforts to draw closer to the Lord. He even gave up some of his worldly ways. That's not how Matthew put it, but that's how I did it. And began bringing members of his retirement community church. And the pastor told Matthew that Junior brought so many people to church, they were planning to give him an award for his mission work. It was as if somehow he knew that his time was near. I believe that he is now resting with the Lord in glory. I would ask that you please remember Junior, how he lived, loved life, and loved his family, so that his life and his death would not be in vain. John Cody Jr. was quite a guy. In closing, I would just encourage you to always let your love be on display. Never let the opportunity pass without saying I love you to someone that you love. You never know. It could be the last time. And seek the Lord. You still have time.
Yes.
Whereas it is appointed unto man once to die, but after that, judgment. May God bless each and every one of you, and may the God of all comfort to his children, and his grandchildren, his brothers and sisters, and all